What is up guys, Andy Forrest Runner here and welcome back to week number 4 in this 10k training series where we're chasing down 3340. So welcome back to week 4 of this 10k training series, and things have taken a turn for the worse. Today I want to go through everything that has happened this week. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind. What happened on the accident on the school run on Monday morning, what then happened with the surgery after that, and of course answering the main question, will this series be continuing? For me personally, I'm just out here on day 1 recovery after the surgery, having a quick walk while my wife does her couch to 5k run. I just need some fresh air. We're getting out here, enjoying the sun, getting a breather in, and we're going to go and sit down and talk about everything that's been going on. So there we go, recovery has started now. Day 1 out there doing a nice easy walk, just getting some fresh air, otherwise I'll go stir crazy. Hopefully we'll be running again in the next 7 to 14 days. I've got to wait to see the surgeon next Wednesday to get his advice. He did say to me, let the wounds heal and then you can start running again. But we're going to talk all about the recovery and then whether this training series will carry on very shortly. But first, let me tell you about what actually happened, because of course I've posted this on YouTube and Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that, and I haven't really gone into too much detail. So let me explain how I've ended up in this massive cast splint thingy. So basically what happened was on the school run on Monday morning, I was taking my 2 daughters to school. There was a lorry up in front of us that had shed its load of steel sheets all over the road. So it was going up around the corner and the sheets of steel had slid off the back of the truck. They were all over the road. Lots of people were getting out of their cars to help lift these sheets off the road so that we could clear the road and all drive through. There are loads of people getting out, so I myself got out as well to try and help get some of these sheets off the road. We moved a couple across, and as I picked up like the 3rd or 4th one with someone at the other end just carrying it off, they kind of stumbled and the sheet jutted back into my hand and basically sliced across my 3 fingers here. My index finger and my index finger here, 4th finger, took a bit of a brunt of it, but the middle finger is what took the full force. It literally cut right deep into my finger. I kind of felt it but didn't feel too much at the time, but as I looked down and saw blood running all over the metal sheet, I looked into my finger and I could see white. Now my first instant thought when I saw that was, oh my god, I've cut my hand down to the bone. Thankfully it was the tendon and not the bone, but I could see white and it made me feel a little bit queasy, I'm not going to lie. So I put the sheet down straight away, kind of stood there, thought, should I help some more? So I stood there for another 10-15 seconds and then I decided, no, I need to get back to the car. I'll let everyone else deal with it. There's something obviously quite wrong with my finger. I need to get the school run done and I need to go to hospital. So I got back in to the car. My daughters were in there. They saw the blood. I had blood all over the gear stick and steering wheel. It was a bit of a massacre. So I carried on driving a little bit to drop my first daughter off at her school. And by the time I got close to dropping her off, I felt violently sick. I had to pull over. I had to be sick all over the pavement. She went off to school. I drove home. My wife then took me and my other daughter to her school and then took me on to A&E so that I could see someone. Sadly though, our local A&E did not want to know about it, so they then referred me to a bigger A&E in Gloucester. So I then spent some of the day over in Gloucester to be told when they cleaned the wound up that yes, I had indeed gone 4 to 5 millimeters deep into my finger, which is beneath the tissue and into the tendon. I couldn't physically flex this tip of my finger. So where you flex that bit, my finger was just absolutely rigid and would not move. So I was then told I would have to come back for surgery. They didn't know the extent of the tendon damage. They just knew that the tendon wasn't working. Thankfully, and touch wood, no nerve damage, no anything else damage, it was just the tendon. So that was Monday. We then fast forward to Tuesday. I was awaiting the phone call from the surgeon. They rang me and said they wanted me to see the specialist surgeon on Thursday. So at that point I started to wonder if there was something a little bit more serious going on, but I tried not to worry too much and just pressed on. It was feeling all right, so I went out for that run on Wednesday that you saw, kind of a pre-final surgery run, because I knew I'd be out of action for a while. And of course, got called in Thursday, saw the specialist surgeon first on the list. straight down there, local anaesthetic, so I was awake during the whole operation. It was incredible, to be fair. I didn't feel a thing, but there was some weird sensations going on. I felt the tendon clicking in my hand as they were pulling, tugging it, reattaching it, but I didn't feel anything, which was great. I had the surgeon to my left doing his thing, a lady to my right just talking to me for a good hour and a half. It was only meant to be a 30-45 minute operation. So it did go on a little bit longer than anticipated. It was a full tendon rupture. The steel sheet had cut right through the tendon, so he had to reattach it, which means we're going to have some extensive rehabilitation afterwards. But touch wood, the surgery went well. It's stiff, but I can wiggle it, which I couldn't before, because before, in those 3 days, my middle finger was permanently stuck up, so a bit awkward, but on the whole, feeling much better about the situation now that it's done. We'll be in this cast until I think Monday or Wednesday next week. I'm seeing a hand specialist on Monday, the surgeon on Wednesday, and then I go into a splint, I believe, for the next 6 weeks. So hopefully once this thing is off, I'll be able to get running again. The surgeon said at least wait 7 days for the wounds to heal, which is fine. I'm in no rush, nor am I going to rush this. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind, a mad 72 hours. So now I'm just going to kick back, relax, try and do my best to keep things sensible with this, but then when I'm ready and when I'm allowed to, I'll get back out and start gently running, and then at that point I'll see how I feel in terms of fitness and what I want to do moving forward. So I guess I'll answer the question of, will this training series continue moving forwards? The answer is going to be answered next week when I have seen the surgeon. If he says, yeah, Wednesday, it's all healed up nicely, it's looking really good, feel free to start going out and doing some gentle jogs, then I'll have only missed sort of 7 days of running and hopefully 2 or 3 runs back, and I'll start to get a little bit of fitness back and we can kick back on again. But if he says, no, do you know what? You need to wait another 7 days or so, then I'll just say, all right, that's fine, and I will probably write the series off and start thinking about training for something else, perhaps maybe then going full steam ahead for Newport Marathon in April or a half marathon. I don't know. I'll just sit down and reassess next week. So fingers crossed. I don't want this training series to end because it's been really fun training for the shorter, sharper stuff. I've really started to find my groove again, and now of course we've had this spanner in the works, but we must be grateful we're healthy and all of that jazz. This has turned out well in the end, so we just need to be patient with the rehab. Once we go into the splint's then going to be adjusted regularly to bring the finger back up straight. The reason that it's curved at the moment is because they don't want the tendon to overstretch the other way, otherwise it will snap off and we'll be back in the same position we were in pre-surgery. So there we go. That is what happened. That's what's going to be happening with recovery. That is what is going to be happening with the training series. Once again, thank you all so much for all your kind messages across all social media platforms, everywhere. You've wished me well. I appreciate it beyond belief. So coming up next, what I'll do is I'll talk about a couple more exciting things that I've got coming up next year, talking about some marathon majors that we're entered into and a couple of other things. So we'll get that done, and then fingers crossed next week we can get back out and start the recovery process all over again. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for waiting to the end. I appreciate it a lot. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you on the next one. Until then.